Hello, lovely, and welcome back to Confidence After Cancer. Today, we are talking about something that so many women whisper about, or think about, or hide under the duvet about, but rarely say out loud. And that is the fear of cancer coming back. The fear that pops up when you have a random ache, or you're waiting for a scan result, or you're just innocently minding your own business, maybe watching Netflix, and suddenly your brain goes, hey, what if? Lovely, hear me now. You are not broken, you are not overreacting, and you are definitely not alone. You are normal and you're safe here. So let's breathe together, let's settle in. And I want to talk to you today about how we actually start to live again, even when fear tries to keep us small. So, first of all, before we can tackle any problem, it's good to try and understand it a little bit about why are you in this place, because it's not always rational, the emotions and the feelings that we have. And I want to tell you, first of all, what your brain is trying to do. It's trying to protect you, it's trying to keep you safe. And this is the bit that people forget. Your brain is obviously not trying to torture you, it is trying to keep you alive the best way it knows how, by keeping you safe. So after cancer, your nervous system is like, okay, right then, we are on high alert forever. You're welcome. It's basically like an overprotected Labrador. Tail is wagging, trying its best, but occasionally knocking furniture over in its panic to try and save you. So whenever you have a twinge or a headache, your brain jumps straight to the worst case scenario because it's learned very traumatically that sometimes the worst case, the most unimaginable thing, sometimes that can happen. And if it's happened to you, I'm sending you so much love because it happened to me. But think about what you've been through. This is normal. It's not pleasant and it's not fun, but it's normal. But the good news is you can retrain that Labrador because I've learned how to do that and I teach other people how to do that. You do not have to get rid of the fear. You just have to teach your brain, I hear you, but we're safe right now. We are safe right now. So let's think about the way that fear can show up in patterns. Sometimes it's very sneaky. Fear can sneak in through the back door. It could be body checking. Oh, that's a bit weird. That wasn't there yesterday, was it? That little twinge. The next one is Googling, Dr. Google, as I like to call it. And I think, honestly, Google should come with a warning label. Side effects may include panic, sweating, and dramatic conclusions. That's not even to mention the amount of nonsense that people can write unashamedly on the internet. So Google sometimes, yeah, can be useful. Sometimes it can be your worst enemy. Another pattern can be, and I've been so guilty of this, and that is 3 a.m. catastrophizing. That has been the witching hour for my anxious brain to wake up, ping, oh, I've just had a subconscious thought. What if this happens? And what if that happens? Which leads me on to the next one, the pattern that I used to have, which was planning my own funeral by breakfast, going in 0 to 60 miles per hour in seconds, going from that's a bit odd to what hymns should I have and what flowers should I have, and do I want people wearing bright colours at my funeral or do I want them to wear black? I've gone from that in 5 minutes flat just by a thought. This is not real. These are just thoughts that I've created myself. And I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because it's true. And I know it's so common as well. And if you're feeling like this, you are not mad, no more madder than I am. You're human, okay? And this is what happens when people are trauma conditioned. That's the semi-scientific name for it. You are trauma conditioned to act and behave in a certain way. But the minute you start to recognize this pattern and understand why you feel like that, you can interrupt it. You can choose to respond in a different way. And I've had to work on this for myself, and I've worked on this with other people as well. And I know what I'm going to teach you works. Okay, this can help you overcome that fear. So, first, I'm going to give you 3 grounding questions. These are my go tos, and they work beautifully. When fear spikes, I want you to pause and ask yourself, number one, what is the fear? Give it a name plainly, not the drama, not the spiral, the fear itself. And I had this earlier last year, and it was the fear was, I'm afraid the pain in my shoulder means there's something serious. And the second question I want you to ask yourself is what is true right now? Not what could be true, not what happened to somebody on Facebook or somebody that I've read about or somebody that I saw on the news, but right now, what is true for you? And so I had to say to myself, well, right now, I've had shoulder pain before. Right now, nothing has changed dramatically. And right now, most importantly, I'm safe, sat on my sofa with a blanket around me. Okay. And the grounding question to bring me right down from this fear was, what do I need in this moment? And 9 times out of 10, it could be one of these things. Firstly, hydration. Talked of this about this ad nauseum because it's been so true. And I learned this on my nutritional healing course. A lot of illness, a lot of disease starts with dehydration. What else you might need is rest. You might be just simply worn out. And I get this when I'm tired, I know my thoughts can gallop away with me and I can become quite irrational. What another thing you might need is a distraction. Sometimes just sitting down with a good book or watching a really gripping movie or being involved in an activity that you really got to focus on. For some people, it's arts and crafts, but whatever it is that you choose as a distraction, that can really help. Stop that chattering mind that's not your best friend at this time. Give yourself a distraction to take yourself away from these negative thoughts. The other thing you might need is reassurance. See, it might be for me, with my shoulder pain, it was just, do you know what? I'm going to get onto my doctor. I'm going to tell her exactly how worried I am about this and say that I want a check up. And I did that, and she actually booked me in for an x-ray the same day. It scared me a little bit, but actually I went and had my x-ray and I felt so reassured afterwards. The other thing that you might need in this moment is a chat with somebody who gets it. It could be a good friend, somebody in your family, it could be a counselor or a therapist, it could be a coach. A chat with somebody who gets it can just help you let it all out. Sometimes just untangling those thoughts in your head can really help. Or what you actually just might need is permission to breathe. Stop holding. And I do this, and I need to put my shoulders back. I need to breathe deeply. Talked about this last week, a little exercise you can do. So many breathing exercises you can do. Find one that works for you that helps you to regulate your system by simply breathing, my love. Okay, because fear wants speed and healing wants slowness. So asking yourself these 3 questions slows everything down. So I'm going to repeat them. What is the fear? Give it a name. Number 2, what is true right now? And number 3, what do I need in this moment? Ask yourself these 3 questions. Slow everything down. If it helps you, write it down on a piece of paper or put some notes in your phone just to remind yourself that actually you can choose a better thought. You may feel, well, there's nothing I can do about this fear. It's just the way that I am. I'm always going to live in fear. That's a belief that you've had. If you think you can never get overcome this, that is a belief that can be changed if you're willing to do a little bit of work. And I'm here for you if you want to do that work. I'm here to guide you and help you. It's why I do this podcast. Okay. I want to talk to you next about letting your life get bigger than your fear. And this was such good advice that I was given by a really good friend of mine. And it was nothing to do with cancer. It was to do with a very difficult family situation that she was dealing with. And she said this awful situation she'd been in, the only way she could overcome it was actually by stop fighting it, by stop trying to overcome it, but actually thinking about the good things in her life and making those bigger and brighter and better by choosing to focus on those things. And I want to remind you that you don't get rid of fear by fighting it. You get rid of fear by building a life that is bigger than fear and by bringing more joy and happiness into your life. And that is a choice that you can make, my love. Some days it might feel like you've got no choice, but I want to remind you you have. And joy and happiness is not irresponsible. And living in joy is not tempting fate. And joy certainly isn't forgetting what happened. Yeah, you've been through some tough times, but joy is medicine. Joy is anti-inflammatory. And I've talked about this before, about inflammation quite often is the source or the beginning of so much disease or dis-ease, as Louise Hay would call it. So what you can choose a better thought, and joy is medicine. Because when your days are filled with things that nourish you, like purpose, connection, rest, laughter, music, dancing, being in nature, whatever it is that gives you joy, fear has less space to take over. It's when we're alone and it's when we allow this space that fear can really get a grip of you. But we can choose to do something about that, because I want to remind you that you've not survived for no reason. Your life deserves that expansion, and you deserve to dream again, and you deserve plans bigger than your past. A listener has messaged me recently and said, I don't know if you can relate to this, but what she said was, I feel guilty when I make future plans, almost like I'm jinxing it. And I just want to say to that, no, my love, no, you're not jinxing it at all. And I want to remind you, you I hesitate to use the word should, because I'm not judging, but I just want to remind you, you've got choices. And how about choosing no guilt, no superstition, and no shrinking yourself just because your brain still remembers the dark days? And you might have that memory for quite some time, but thinking about what I've just said about bringing more joy into your life, let's make those joyful times bigger, brighter, and bolder in your life. And the dark days will become smaller, they become distant memories. It does become easier as time goes on. Yeah, I know that. But we can speed up that process by focusing on what we want to focus on, joy and happiness. So I want to remind you to make the plans, book the holiday, choose your favourite dress, spray your favourite perfume on, paint the room, redecorate, reorganise something, dream your dreams, whatever it is you want to do. Put a plan together and dream your dreams, because life is not meant to be lived in preemptive grief. Okay, your future is allowed to be big and bright, even if fear occasionally taps you on the shoulder. Let's make that occasionally, not overcoming, not overshadowing everything in your life. Okay, and I just want to remind you about my Powerfully You coaching program, because inside Powerfully You, we work on exactly this. We work on learning to trust your body again. We work on emotional regulation. We work on safety in your nervous system and transforming your fear into confidence and clarity. Because, my love, you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to let fear drive your life anymore. You can become the driver of your life again. And if this resonates, my love, you can book a clarity call using the link below here. Somewhere around this show notes will be a link. You can just jump on a call with me, ping me a message, and we can have a chat. We can chat about where you are, what you want, and how to help you feel safe and strong again, because you can do that. And I want to remind you, you are not your fear. You are a survivor. You are bold, you are resilient, and you are stepping into your next chapter with courage. And I'm so incredibly proud of you. So, just a reminder to take gentle care, my love, and I will see you next week. Stay safe, stay sane. Thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me.